What if we do it like that?
Just living. Actually, sounds pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah.
Did you record that?
Yeah, it's being recorded right now.
You should keep that. Those were the days.
Stop singing actual stuff. Hello, hello.
Hello.
End of the year.
Yay.
End of 2024.
So
Welcome back.
long.
No TikTok Tuesday today. Today is going to be recap of 2024.
The year that was.
Yeah. Why so long?
Why so long?
Yeah.
Because it's been a wild year.
Perfect. Then we can jump right into it. Describe 2024. First of all, sorry. Let's start this again. I'm Roscoe.
Haley.
This is the Just Livin' Still Livin' podcast. That we don't do podcasts that much anymore.
Because why?
Because of me. We're recapping 2024, though.
Way to take accountability.
All right. Recap 2024. Describe 2024 in 3 words. Go.
In 3 words?
3 words.
Okay. Absolute.
Yeah.
Freaking chaos.
I wouldn't say that.
I would.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be chaos in a bad way, but chaos.
Okay.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So the beginning of the year started off with long COVID.
Okay, wait. Before we go there, then, let me say my 3 words.
Okay.
Be more grateful.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Now
making
go
me
ahead. Jump right into your...
look like a negative Nancy.
Here's the
Shocking.
Festivus.
Anyway, started off with, 2023, we had, which we've already discussed, but we've had tumor, facial paralysis,
Okay, I didn't know where we were
strep,
going here.
blah, blah, blah. So then we come into 2024, long COVID, stomach issues. You lose 40 pounds. I will say, though.
Dang, what are you doing?
Well, you told me to think about it, so I did. So
I said take 3 words.
a happy insert is March. You were, what's the word I'm looking for? Honored by the city of Louisville.
Why don't we go slower here? You're just jumping through the whole year.
You did a...
Yeah, I was going to get there.
Yeah, so that's the happy, is in March you did the horse. And then extreme sickness. May, our life changed. You had emergency gallbladder removal surgery. You had an ERCP because you had your bile duct blocked. But in the same time, you decided to take medication for your anxiety and your health. And since that day, you've continued this medication. And so from May onward, it was like a whole nother world. We did so many things. And then fast forward to now, it feels like we're, and this is just me, I will only speak for myself, but it feels like the experiences that we experienced from September to now have strengthened our marriage, strengthened our relationship, and just really brought us closer together as husband and wife. And I couldn't be more happier because you've always been my person. So to just strengthen that bond just makes me more happy.
Well said.
Thank you.
Is that all you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, because you got a list and I don't. That's all the
It's
things
not
I
a
had
list
in my
of
head.
things, but...
I know, but if you want to
Kinda just did a
elaborate, then I'll wait till you
everything.
bullet through, and then I'll add my
I'm not
inserts.
bulleting it down of like... I just said describe 3 words.
Okay.
Absolute fucking chaos is what I saw you do.
That's not how I meant to do it, though.
Okay.
I was counting down my fingers.
I thought about it long and hard before we started this podcast or to record today. I was thinking, all right, how do I want to do this? What do I want to talk about? Obviously, you see it when I love talking. I talked to my friend at work today. I love recapping my favorite movies and stuff of the year, but that's just one part of the year that I like to talk about. I was thinking as a whole, how is the year closing out and what happened throughout the whole year? And yeah, I mean, you covered a lot of key points of negatives. There were some positives in there, but it has been year. If I could go back and do it again, I would definitely do it all over again the same.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't change it. Even the negative was
Yeah.
so terrible, but so learning, or so not learning, so teachable. There were so many learning lessons through all of the bad.
Yes.
It was an even Steven year.
Yes.
For anything good, there was something bad. For anything
Yes.
bad, there was something good.
Yes.
Everything passes. Even this too shall pass goes both ways,
Yes.
good and bad.
Yes.
So I enjoyed 2024. I thought it was a great year.
I thought it was better than 2023.
I thought 2023 was a good year.
This wasn't as great as 2024. It's 2025 is going to be awesome.
A family member told me once, if it's a year you're above ground, then it's a good year.
Yes, if you want to get all
It
philosophical. Yes.
is. I always get philosophical. Yeah.
And sometimes too much. Then yes, any day above ground is a good day.
When he says it when we talk about birthdays and how old we are, or
Yes.
how old he is.
Yes.
That's what he says, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, 2024 was a great year, with many bad days and good days. What if you could pick one day? You don't have to know the date. What was the best day of the year for you?
This is so hard because I have 3 that are all equal
I want one day.
but different. Okay. Then that's going to be
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
October 9th of 2024.
That was the day we went to the 21 Pilots concert.
That was the day we drove to Nashville.
Yes, for the 21 Pilots concert.
Would you like me to explain
Go
why it's my
ahead.
favorite day?
Yeah.
So I just want the people to know there are 2 other days that
Stick with one, dude.
that really stick in my head though. Like when I say that there are 3 days this year that are up here.
Things can go on tangents. Stick with
They're
one.
up here. I know. I'm trying. I'm gonna go with October 9th, 2024, because I feel like they bring a little bit of all 3 days into one complete day. I don't know if we've talked about it, so I'll just recap real quick. But October 8th, 2024, we had tickets to see our favorite band. And when I say our favorite, I mean
The whole
me,
family.
you, and the children. We have loved them forever equally. We had tickets to see them, not front row, but they were very, very, very good seats, right stage. I mean, we could literally see the sweat coming off of Tyler's face. We missed it because our daughter had a gallbladder attack literally 10 minutes before the show started.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to go. She couldn't handle the thumping in the chest from the speakers. We had to leave. We missed the show. We came home. The whole drive home from Indianapolis, we're all 4 of us. It's silent. We're devastated. We're sad. We waited all year for these tickets. We,
the show. We bought the tickets in April and waited
we
till
didn't
October.
want to make her feel worse than she already felt.
Yeah, like it was her fault.
Right.
It wasn't
So
her
we
fault.
didn't talk about it, but you could just feel the sadness in the car the whole way home.
Mm-hmm.
Each of us were devastated. And we came home. We unpacked our car. The girls went inside. Me and you stayed outside for a second just to kind of decompress from the car ride. And you looked at me and you said, there are 4 tickets at Nashville tonight. If we left right now, we would make it.
One of their last shows of the tour, too. They were going from Nashville. The next stop was Minneapolis, and then they were out of the country. There was no more shows for the rest of the year.
And
they don't do shows every year. This is like once every 4 years they do a show.
Yes. So I said, get in the car.
I said get in the car.
We got the kids. All wearing the same clothes we were wearing the night before. No showers. We all used the restroom. We got in the car. We drove straight down to Nashville.
If we left right then, we could make it right on time.
We literally made it right before they came on stage. Mm-hmm. Stayed the entire time and drove the whole way back home.
Say it again. Say it differently.
drove the whole way back
no,
home.
no, say that. Say
You
that
would
part.
not allow me to drive, so I'm not going to give you credit for driving all the way home because I drove all the way there.
You did.
You know that it's hard for me to drive at night.
We didn't leave the parking garage until 1:30 in the morning.
Nashville
time, which was 2:30 our time.
Correct.
And you had already been up for 24 hours.
That's correct.
And I had to blare the AC.
Yes.
To stay awake.
And I was freezing.
To drive the 3.5 hours home.
Yes. And then we stopped at Buc-ee's around 3 a.m.
Yeah, and we got home around 5 a.m.
We bought all the snacks that they had to offer.
It was worth it, though.
You had like 17 different kinds of beef jerky. I had all the pralines. I had all the chips. I had everything. And we came home.
It was worth it not to.
Yes.
It was worth it to drop. Don't think about it. Just go do it.
It was one of
We're
our
not gonna
first
get another chance if we don't go.
spontaneous experiences as a family. It's a staple memory that I'm sure will live with our kids forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I will never, ever forget watching the girls' face watching their favorite band.
I'm glad that Riley was able to feel better that day.
Yeah.
Even though the night before she was not feeling great. She's had her surgery since and has had the same surgery I did and had her gallbladder removed to fix some of that problem. But, yeah, I mean, it literally happened 5 minutes before we walked out the door on the night before. She was so excited to go, and then it was just like the world said, no, you're not going. And we tried to go, and she tried hard, and, yeah, it sucked. It really stunk. Much like I'll segue into my best day. My best day is, we've talked about it on here a lot, was in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
It was September 19th, if I have the right date of this year. There are plenty of great days in New York. I left no stone unturned in New York City, to the point where we missed out on doing something that we wanted to do one day, and then the next day before we left New York, I was like, I'm not leaving until we go do this. I didn't want to leave with any regret, and so I had no regret. Excuse me. No regret to do the 21 Pilots concert the same way I had no regret in New York City to go do that one final thing that I'd missed on that I wanted to do. I apologize. I was so not coffee, right? As soon as I start talking, I get coughing. My favorite day was, well, New York City had plenty of amazing days, like being on top of the Empire State Building. Something I didn't even want to do was an amazing day. And eating at Cat's Deli that same day, like that was a fun day. Or the Broadway play days, or Central Park was my favorite day. Was the second. We went 3 times to Central Park. It was the second Central Park day. So it was the day that we worked with my coworkers and we went to the Museum of Modern Art, and then we went to Central Park. And it was my favorite day. And I say it's my favorite moment of the year because there was no, out of all the pressure that was around me, having to work, I was there with my company, and it was like you're running around like a tourist in New York City wanting to do everything, and it's tiring, and your legs hurt from walking. It was just laying in Central Park on that rock. I forget what rock it was called. I think it had a name. It wasn't Plymouth Rock, but it was like something like that. This massive rock face, and I learned that it's the only actual real part of nature in Central Park. Everything else is man-made, like the pond. Everything is man-made. The trees are planted. The lime, or not limestone, but the bedrock is real. Sitting there for an hour because we had to wait for some friends to show up down the road. We just had no time to do anything. We could kill an hour, and we just sat for an hour, and I remember laying back on the rock and just laying down and just listening to everyone around me in Central Park and looking at the skyline and being right there. It was everything I wanted it to be. It was like, you hype up something and it doesn't fulfill the need that you hyped it. That 100% hyped it. It was, or fulfilled it. It was great. It was my favorite day.
Yeah.
It's my favorite moment. So I'm going to make that my favorite day. Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah. All right. What was your worst day of the year? You don't have to know the exact day.
May
Oh gosh, no, I know somewhere around this.
7th. I think it's May 7th. I think it was Tuesday, May 7th. Or whatever that Tuesday was, but I'm pretty sure the 5th was Sunday, so May 7th was the Tuesday.
The day of my surgery.
That was the day of your surgery. That was the day of your gallbladder removal.
Okay, so it's the second surgery
Mm-hmm.
in 3 days or 4 days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it was just because I was having surgery. I assume is why it was your worst day.
No. It's because your surgeon looked at me and said that you would have died if I would have waited any longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I was out of it.
I know, but
So that wasn't my
I know
worst
that
day.
we've dealt with a lot together, mental health wise, and your anxiety over the years, but to have a surgeon tell me that, it was like the wind was knocked out of my chest.
Hmm.
And not to get sappy and gross, but those are words that I don't ever want to hear, not for a long, long time.
We don't know. It could happen any day. So that's why
hearing
you
them in May, it changed a lot in me.
Yeah, I remember. My worst days not those days though. My worst days were probably the days that led up to that day. Not the days in the hospital, not the days being sick. It was the days I don't know, weeks before it. I just lost my grandfather. And was just very sick and didn't know how sick you were. And I just said it at dinner when we were talking tonight about Scarlett having her tonsils removed, how she's going to feel different and maybe not realize what was going on until something's... You get so accustomed to something feeling a certain way, even you don't know that it's bad until it's removed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the day leading up to it, I think the day before I got admitted to the hospital was the worst day. Because I just didn't know what was happening. Because I couldn't correlate reality with fiction in my head on what was... Obviously, when something happens, you know. Because, I knew well enough to go to the hospital the next morning. But I didn't know what was happening in my head versus what was really happening. It's not like your arm was cut off and you can see it.
Right.
There was pain always. I already had pain everywhere, so... I have pain now, so you just... Yeah, those were breaking points. But, life finds a way to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. I don't want to get stuck on bad stuff the whole time. Lessons learned from the year. What would you say? I can go first if you want me to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say this. I learned through you, not just you, but you've been a big proponent of gratitude. You do it every day. I've learned to lean on other people more than I ever have in my whole life. Not the way of I don't know how I'm going to say it. I was thinking about it and I was trying to think of the right words. You can shoulder a person, a person. You can shoulder a lot of weight of stuff going on inside, physically, mentally, emotionally, and you think you can handle it until you can't. And sometimes you can get too late. When you look back, you could have gone, dang, if I would have asked for help that long ago from that person, they were already here to help me. I learned how to ask for help a lot easier. I learned how to be more honest with people and communicate, even if it was embarrassing. So a good example is just like all of the doctors, which I'll thank all of them here. I'm not going to thank them by name, but I've thanked them in person all year. Like at the end of the year, you've seen what I've done with them. Every doctor that I have had this year, whether it's psychiatrist, psychologist, physical therapist, gastrologist, cardiologist, general practitioners, dentists, eye doctors, I know all of them by first name and last name basis. And at one point through this year, I think I've hugged them.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, I've cried on them and become humanized with them, because I know they're at a job and they're, busy. But I needed their help and they had to hear me. Not cry for help, but I had to learn to not be afraid to just be like as brutally open with them to help me, because then they actually helped. My pharmacist didn't add them in. I'm friends with all of them, and it's because of them that they saved my life through the year, not just from the physical stuff, but from the mental stuff. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't have made it through the year, and I didn't get to them until I finally said I need help, and then really told them what help I needed by being honest about everything, and they led me in the right path. And I just realized I learned that can go with a lot of things that you need in life. And I learned that from community with friends and family that we have too. Like, there's always hope somewhere if you just ask, and not be too prideful not to ask for it. And don't wait until you're in a situation where you have to ask. Because if you asked before, then they would have helped you. People can pick up the slack for each other. And I love it now if somebody needs, I love it when I can pick up the slack for somebody. Yeah, that's what I learned. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. I loved every single person this year that listened to me for a few minutes or helped me in any way. And even the people that didn't, I didn't hold that bitterness against them. Doctors, family, friends, anybody. I just learned to, I really did. I just learned how to communicate, I think is the right word.
Sometimes I envy you.
Why?
Because your ability to take in so much hate sometimes, and all you give back is love.
Oh, that's true.
Mean,
I can hate. I give
yeah,
back hate.
I know. Trust me, I know that you can match energy.
I made mistakes too.
You can match energy, especially if you are pushed beyond your means. But what I'm saying is I am a grudge holder. That's something that I continue to work on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And you just continue to push out so much love regardless of the awful things that are said to you. And I just envy you when you do that, because you do it so much better than I do.
I think everything's temporary. That's another lesson I've learned. It doesn't feel like it, and I could act like it, and I could seem like I'm talking shit here, because I can live in the moment. Like, you can catch me on a bad day. Like, you can catch me in a bad minute in an hour from now. But it is all temporary. Even, like I said, good things are temporary. There was a lot of soul searching, I guess is the terms, through the year. With, if you want to count religion, if you want to count love, if you want to count hate, if you want to count just fucking the healthcare system, if you want to count mental health, if you want to count parenting, if you want to count neighboring, if you want to count commuting, anything. There was like searching through all of it, trying to find purpose, trying to understand like big questions, philosophicals. What the fuck am I doing here? Why am I dealing with pain? Why am I dealing with sorrow? Why am I dealing with happiness? What's the purpose? Is it God? Is it not? Is it meaningless? What is it? Like, why? Is it all just a fucking random mess? There was a lot of that this year. And I mean, I don't have the answer. I don't think I'll ever have the answer. I think that's the whole, if there is a point, is that there's a lot of unknown. And that was kind of, the year was like grasping into the unknown, living in it. The one thing I can say for sure that I know is true, is I definitely know what love is. And it doesn't have to be love like romantically between me and you, or love like parenting, or love like a friendship or a brothership or a sister or a mother or father or a friend. It's love in its entirety. Like, can you love yourself? Can you love a stranger? Can you... Love was a learning lesson. Love isn't just like, oh, I feel good. And, scientifically they say like love is just like chemicals in your brain, like oxytocin, dopamine from a movie or music or a kiss or something or a hug. But I know love's real. So that's kind of how the year ended, was like, I felt love places everywhere. With myself, with others, with strangers, with friends. I don't know if that's the purpose. It seems like it is sometimes. So that's another lesson learned, I think. It's just trying to find purpose. Even if you don't feel like there is purpose. I mean, love can be a purpose. Even if it's not yours. I wrote it, I write it all the time. I have a photo I write on the bathroom window every day. I am loved. I started doing that like 3 months ago. I don't know why. Because you keep saying it, and I just want to remind myself that. Like, even if it's just you or them or my mom or my sisters or anybody that loves me, or I hope other people know that I try to give that to them too. Maybe at least Roscoe loves me, so that's what I learned. All right, I don't want to get too sappy, and I don't want to take all day recapping 2024, but do you want to tell me what lesson you learned?
I don't know how to follow up to that.
I mean, it was a great year to learn stuff.
It was definitely a year full of lessons. I think I really did a lot of self-reflection this year. So I don't want it to sound selfish, because I don't mean it from a selfish place, but
no, sound selfish. I want to know.
I've done a lot of self-reflecting with every what do I want to call them? With every mountain we climbed, with every roadblock we came to, with whatever you want to call it.
Life moments. They're life moments. That
moment, like you said, had, and I've said this. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that said it to you.
You said it every time.
What's the lesson?
Yes, every time.
There's no need to look at it negatively. There's no need to harp on it or dwell on it. Find the lesson.
That is easy to say when it's in a good place.
100%.
Because it's very, like I said, catch me in a day.
Yes.
Never know.
Catch me in a day. There are definitely days where I'm like, please shut up. I don't want to talk about it. But and I can't take all the credit. I'm gonna have to give the credit to my buddy, my friend, who runs my Bible group every Friday,
Mm-hmm.
because he's the one that says it to me, and he says it every Friday, and I've taken it, and I've really tried to push that out all year. Is what's the lesson, especially if the thing keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
If the same thing keeps happening, you have not learned the lesson. What am I missing in the lesson? I've really tried to do that with self-reflection this year. And I can tell you on December 30th of 2024, I've self-reflected. I've changed my tone, I feel, in a lot of ways that I respond to things. I try to communicate more effectively. I try to push communication more within the household, especially.
Mm-hmm.
We have teenage daughters. They don't communicate well. Sometimes we don't communicate well. So I try to stop. How can we communicate effectively? How can you tell me how you're feeling so that way I can respond to you in a way that makes sense to you to squash this, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also found that I gotta stop putting people on pedestals that don't need to be on pedestals. I like to people please. I like to keep the peace, so I don't want to be combative. I'm not confrontational, but I think it's, I'm coming into, well, we both are. We're coming into halfway to 70 with the new year. And
It's true.
honestly, I'm just ready to do what I want to do. I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm headed. If I want to say something in the moment, I'm not going to be scared anymore. I'm just going to say it because I'm a grown up and you should be able to understand what I'm saying as a grown up. Obviously, it's going to be different with the children, but I'm not saying I'm going to go out here and be aggressive, but I'm saying I'm going to stop holding back.
I know what you mean because
I'm going to correct the wrong when I hear it. I'm going to correct the wrong when I see it in public. I'm going to stop being scared.
I don't want to cut you off, but I can attribute with that and say that I also learned this year, and then leading what you're saying, you cannot. I learned how much human people are.
Yeah.
Specifically, when you think of a doctor, for example, in my situation of what I went through this year, or a lawyer or a judge or a police officer or a president or a politician or a scientist or a physicist, anyone in these places, you think this person knows everything. They have the answers in this field. If it's their field, I'm a designer. If someone came to me, he knows all. That is not true.
No.
It is not. Doctors do not know the answer to everything. They are human. They make mistakes. I learned that. And it was never that I didn't believe people can't make mistakes. But after seeing it in continuation through the year, you're like, oh, I need to be very, very clear on my communication. Because you can't just go in and go, this is my problem. If you don't tell them what's hurting or not hurting, if you're not specific, if you don't give adjectives, if you're not very precise, you could go down a wrong path of looking the wrong way at something. They're not you. So I made it a point midway through, like I said, I held these people almost. I treated them like they were my family, and I asked them to treat me like I was their family and help me, please. Everyone's human, and they're all going to make mistakes. So you have to communicate better. Like, you have to communicate well. Mm-hmm. That's in everything. In anything you do outside of healthcare. I mean, even in the admin people at doctors' offices, you can't expect everything to be perfect. Like, you can't go in and go, and they know what they're doing, they're going to fix it. No, you've got to fight for yourself to fix things a certain way, to get the help, to get to the point to ask for the help.
Yeah.
So I get what you mean. Like, you are 35. They're almost 35. Do what you want. Don't hurt anyone. That's the main goal. If you're not hurting anyone, and that's what I meant when I was talking about religion. Like, yeah, I looked at my faith or what I believed in or what the meaning of life is. And I had struggles through the year with it. We've talked about it. I talk about it all the time. It's not anything new. One of the biggest teachings in Christianity is the life of Jesus. And again, I always fight and say, look, if the worst thing in the world is to try to live by somebody that says love each other no matter what harm am I doing? Doesn't have to be Jesus. But if that's his main teaching, if the main definition is you're here on this earth with other people and you need to love them like they're you, what else is there? That's the easiest way to live.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'll leave with that. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the podcast now and say goodbye. So anything else? Bye. See you. No, I was just saying I could do whatever I want. Biggest accomplishment of the year for you. What would you say? Come on, it's easy. Just say it.
Can I be selfish again?
Yes.
That's my promotion.
There you go. Keep it short and sweet. You got promoted at work, and it was a great accomplishment. I'm happy for you.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Very proud. My biggest accomplishment was doing my Gallopalooza horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, for people that aren't from where we are, we have these statued horses around Kentucky for the Derby, obviously, that you can be painted. Artists get chosen to do it. They've done it, 4 or 5 times over the past 20 years. I always wanted to do it those times, and I never got to, and I was able to do it this year, even through, I've said this, as I was working on that horse, I was in fucking tears and crying and screaming because I was doing something I wanted to do for so long, and I felt like I couldn't enjoy it in the moment because of the pain I was in. But that didn't stop me from doing it, and I still did it.
That's right.
And what you did this year, your accomplishment is amazing. Getting promoted was a huge deal, and I'm very happy that it's over for you because it's a hard process.
Yeah.
So yeah, dreams don't expire.
No. And I just want to say for the people that what Roscoe just said was my number 2.
What? What do you mean?
I told you there's top 3 days.
Oh, doing the horse?
Your horse was a huge moment.
I had a lot of family and friends really come out and support me with that, and I really appreciate everybody that did because it was like I said, it was a dream to always do that. And like I said, dreams don't expire. It had been 20 years or 15 years, however long they've been doing it. And that holds true forever. I think it'll hold true for the next 35 years. If there's something I want to do, I'm not going to give up on it.
Yep.
I never have given up on something because I don't think it isn't impossible. I might not go to the Olympics, but yeah, keep trying it.
Yeah.
All right. Now to the good stuff. I don't want us to go too long, but this is what I love talking about. Every year.
Oh, God.
What? This is my favorite part of the year.
I know, and I just don't share this love with you.
Fine, you don't have to share it. I love award season time for movies. I'm a huge movie buff. We had a podcast that we didn't put out talking about movies for like an hour, and we cut it because it got too emotional, and we didn't keep any of it and put it out to the world, so we can't really talk about it. But I love like the Oscars. I just love film in general, and I'll say what I said in that other podcast that we didn't put out. I think that film and entertainment is a way to escape reality that's going on around you. Not to do that in a bad way. Don't always find yourself escaping and binging Netflix and just staying out of society. But storytelling is what leads the world outside of love. So if you look at love being the catalyst of everything is what my heart says. I think a good story can drive I do. I think storytelling is just amazing. It's creative.
Just you talking about your heart. You truly
movies.
are a gift to the
I'm a
world.
romantic.
You are.
I am. I know I am.
I'm the luckiest woman in the entire world.
Anyway, I don't want to go forever. Anyway, I love film. I'm a big movie buff. I love talking film with my friends and my coworkers and everything else.
Not his wife, though.
I'm not. No, that's not true. And I'm not. I don't feel like I'm an upsy artsy film person. Like, I'll watch shitty film and think it's great, and people think, oh, that's stupid.
Except for Pacific Rim.
That movie sucks. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about other films of 2024. I always love to share my favorite films of the year. I love watching all the films that get nominated for Best Picture or Best Actor because I want to critique it on my terms along with like what Hollywood critiques it as. And sometimes my favorite films don't even make it to the Best Picture. But I like to watch as many of the Best Picture nominees for the Golden Globes and the Oscars as possible and then decide which one I think was the best. So, when it's Oscar time, we'll do a different podcast. But for right now, we're going over the top 5 favorite films of the year. You don't have to give me 5 of your top favorite films. I always do 5.
Couldn't even give you 2.
I know. Well, I could give you the ones I think you would pick. But I will give you my 5 after you give me a couple of yours.
Ugh.
Well, I know you love Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if that's your favorite film.
I do. Okay, that's fair. That was this year.
Yeah, you can't remember.
I don't. So, along with Deadpool and Wolverine, which I loved, but again, huge fan of Wolverine, huge fan of Deadpool, so that wasn't a hard one for me to enjoy. I would say Conclave was a really great movie that I definitely enjoyed this year.
Again, I had to force you. So I'm getting what you're saying.
Yes.
I have to bring you out and say, watch these
that's
films.
What I'm about to say. Because we had to watch Conclave in 2 parts.
I watched it 4 times because of you.
I know, but because my brain just can't do it. I cannot sit here and be forced to watch something straight for 2.5 hours.
That's not. Do you want me to skip you?
Yeah, truly, please. You're putting me on the spot, and I don't remember.
I'll tell you my top 5 favorite movies.
Okay, and I'll tell you if I liked them.
You know what? And hopefully, maybe it'll get you to watch them. All right, number 5. Saturday Night. I know you watched it. I loved Saturday Night.
I know.
Just want to say I know, and then we'll just end it. Why did I love it then?
Because it's Saturday Night Live. You love Saturday Night Live. It was based in New York. You love New York.
Why do I love Saturday Night Live?
Because you think it's funny.
No, because my dad made me watch it all the time. So I like Saturday Night because Saturday Night Live reminds me of my dad watching old Saturday Night in the 70s and 80s and him talking about it and showing me that. And yes, I think it was one of the best films of the year. A lot of people didn't. That was my number 5. My number 4 movie was The Substance. People like The Substance. It's a crazy movie. I did show you the end of this movie. You didn't watch the whole thing. It was a crazy movie.
That's not for me.
The Substance?
Yeah.
You seem to kind of not get grossed out by it when I showed you.
Because you prepared me for it.
It's a wild movie.
If you said nothing and made me watch it, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, you should watch the whole thing.
No.
I think it got nominated for Best Picture in the Golden Globes, which is crazy because it's the first.
It's a cool concept.
It's weird.
But no.
Number 3. No, that's not number 3. Number 3 is Conclave.
Yeah, so good.
Conclave was one of my favorite dramas of the year. So good. Every movie on this list I watched twice this year.
Yeah.
Conclave was my favorite drama, I guess. Yeah, just like as a sole drama. It was a book. Apparently, I wish I would have read the book because I hear the book was really good. That was one that I was like, dang, this is such a good film. I want Haley to watch it. And I think the next day I made you watch it. And I watched it again, and I was still on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was a very good film.
That was good.
Number 2, I watched last night. This is not recency bias. This movie was amazing. What? I'm going to harp on this film for a while. It's just like, look, this company here.
A24.
A24 puts out bangers every year.
Yeah.
This film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, is in my top 5 favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
The Wild Robot is my second favorite film of the year. And it was very similar to the way Everything Everywhere All at Once was because it just hit really dramatic, emotional standpoints.
Yeah.
In off pacing, like in 30 minutes. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I could go on and on about The Wild Robot just
I
because I
know.
watched it yesterday.
I know.
And I've already watched it twice since I've seen it.
I
It was such a good film.
Are you? And we don't have to do it now. We can do it at a later podcast. But are you gonna elaborate on why you got so emotional? Because
I think
I can
everyone can guess why it's emotional. No. Maybe you're guessing wrong. I'm a parent, and I think
Yeah, that's
it's
where I was going with that.
any parent in the world should watch this film.
Yeah.
And that's what the thing is like the kids are gonna watch it now and see me crying and bawling my eyes out, and they'll be parents one day and they'll watch this again and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure
That
that's where I
film
thought you
was
were going.
so good.
I was doing a puzzle while this movie was
I
happening.
hated that you were doing the puzzle because I wish we could watch it tonight.
Yeah. I had taken a shower, so I missed the first 30 minutes.
You were not encapsulated into the film.
No. And then I did the puzzle for a little bit, and I didn't really get hooked
until you saw me blubbering my eyes out.
until I saw you bawling and was like, oh, maybe I should pay attention. And then I watched the ending.
Which the ending's good.
The ending is good. But I
can't spoil it. I don't want to spoil it.
I already heard so much about this movie from work.
I heard that it was good.
So I just never really, again, it's one of those movies where I'm just kind of like.
It was unique. It was new. It was its own thing. It wasn't like a sequel. It wasn't. It is a book apparently, and which is one thing. The art was beautiful. The animation was. I read someone post. It's the best Pixar movie that Pixar didn't make in the past 10 years, and I agree with them. DreamWorks did an amazing job. I think it was an amazing film. The score, the music is amazing. The art is amazing. The voice actors are amazing. It has some of my favorite favorite actors. It's better than the Iron Giant. It's the best robot movie.
Wow, better than the Iron Giant.
It's better than the Iron Giant. It's better than Baymax and Big Hero 6. It's better than WALL-E.
Okay, well I think WALL-E's garbage.
It's better than Alpha 5, Short Circuit. The movie's not even about
Iron
robot.
Giant?
Yeah, it's better than Iron Giant.
It's
up there with Iron Giant. I think Iron Giant.
That's a big thing to say, my guy.
It's this generation's Iron Giant.
Okay, that's a fair thing to say.
It's better than Iron Giant too.
Oh my god, that's.
It is.
Wow.
I don't know. It was my. I would have put this at my favorite film had it not be for my final film, which you've not seen, and I will beg you to watch. Is Dune Part 2. Now, Dune Part 2 came out early in the year, so it's hard to overshadow it at the end of the year when I hear movies like The Brutalist comes out and people say that's going to be the best movie of the year. Dune Part 2 was so good. It is up there with like The Empire Strikes Back and The Godfather. Like, it is that good. You say, I'm telling you, it's just like The Leftovers. That's what I'm saying. You can see a trailer, you can see something and you go, I don't want to watch that, and then you sit down and watch it. You have to watch the first one though to get to 2, because the first one's amazing too. Also, Part 2 is a phenomenal film, and I don't know how it doesn't win Best Picture. Visually, acting, like Timothée Chalamet is amazing in it. Zendaya is amazing in it. Javier Bardem, guy who plays Thanos, I don't know his name off the top of my head, from the Goonies. Anyway, they're all good. Like, it is a huge story that's been told in novels for such a long time that I never read. I'm glad I'm getting to see it on film. It is beautiful, and it's just, yeah, I can't say anything more about it other than it's a masterpiece. Did Oppenheimer win last year? Was that what won Best Picture? I made you sit through Oppenheimer, and that's a long film. You can sit through Dune. Trust me. If you can sit through Oppenheimer, you can sit through Dune.
Again, Oppenheimer.
And it's not sitting through it. It'll go by so fast.
But I feel like you don't know me sometimes. Oppenheimer would be a what?
Kind of like a documentary to you?
There it is.
It's not.
Which
it's
is
a
why
it's a
it
biopic.
holds my attention, because it is based off historical facts. Not that it's 100% historical, but it's based off. I really enjoy documentaries really, really, really enjoy documentaries. I like seeing. I like hearing about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I like learning about why it happened. And then my favorite part of a documentary, which, whatever if you think I'm crazy, but it's listening to people's testimonies who were in that moment, seeing their reaction, hearing their story. Like, it does something for
I can
me.
respect that,
I'm
and
so invested.
I think
When you're
Conclave is like that, even though Conclave is a fake
when your
story.
pop was living down in Florida with us, your pop and I would watch documentaries all the time.
I love documentaries.
And they're on like World War II or anything with aviation and flights and pilots and it's things that people would be like, this is so boring. I loved it because it was real. It was a historical thing. So like when he turned on the History Channel, I'm like, yeah, me too, buddy. And we would sit there and watch it. And then, Nana would wake up or come in there and then it would be Golden Girls, which I'm mad at that either, but
What I'm hearing you say is you don't want to try Dune because it's not historically.
I'm not
It's
saying
science fiction.
it's science fiction.
I'm gonna counter you here. You watched 80 hours of Game of Thrones and loved it every minute of it.
I love Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones.
Not real at all.
But I don't like Star Wars.
Okay.
I don't like Star Trek.
Dune is not like Star Wars.
It's
Neither
another
is-
planet.
no.
It's weird nose pieces because they can't breathe. They look all
They
weird.
can
They
breathe.
look like like it's just not. That's not for me.
Let me.
Game of Thrones is. That's
Dune is more Game of Thrones than Star Wars and Star Trek is. Dune is politics of that. It is so closer to Game of Thrones than it would be Star Wars and Star Trek. It is not star fighting and stuff like that. It might be on another planet. It is not that. It is the politics of. I don't want to spoil it.
whatever.
It is so good.
December 30th, 7:52 p.m. I don't want to watch Dune.
All right,
From
yeah,
what
keep
my
this for after she finishes
from
Dune
what
2.
my husband is telling me, it seems like Dune 1 and 2 are in my near future. So I will watch both, and I'll come back and I'll report.
Dune 2 is my favorite film of the year, next to barely beating The Wild Robot. Only just because it's not an animated film is why Dune is better. The Wild Robot was my favorite. So far is my favorite film. But yeah, it's Dune 2. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I love talking about film and stuff like that. TV shows for the year. We can go quick. You watched The Leftovers.
Yep.
Anyone that hasn't seen that show, it's 10 years old now. It only has 3 seasons on HBO. It is the best show ever made. It stands up to Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and The Sopranos. It is one of my favorite shows. And she finally watched that. So I will say that's my favorite show of the year again, just because we watched it again. I'm still harping on her to watch Lost. She's never seen but maybe 2 episodes of it. It's something I think everyone should experience as well too. It's a great show. It has a stain on it like Game of Thrones does, but it is worth investing the 6 seasons to watch it. Anyway, your favorite show of the year. My favorite show of the year is House of the Dragon, obviously, I think is what I'm going to say is my favorite show of the year.
That's good.
That was one I was most invested in. That was the one I binged, or not binged through, but that was the one I got excited to watch every Sunday.
Yeah. That's good. But I'd say the same for the
what?
The Rest of Us, The Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of Us, was that this year?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. That was last year, 2023.
Oh, that wasn't this year?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's a good show too.
That's coming out.
Okay,
this
House
year.
of Dragon's good. Yeah.
House of Dragon is my favorite show of the year.
Leftovers, good.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, what did I finish in a day?
So I finished Squid Game 2 in a day
On
which was good.
Netflix. I finished Queer Eye. I know you laugh, but I told Scarlett
Three
last
Body
night.
Problem. You loved that show.
I
that day.
loved that show.
Is that your favorite show of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
I loved that show.
Yeah.
Sci-fi. Oh, I saw Star Warsy.
No, that one was like murder and like a little bit of weird.
Let me spoil Dune. There's murder.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I know you're laughing about Queer Eye, but I just want to say, like I told Scarlett last night, just try the show. And I know you've watched it with me sometimes.
I don't mind Queer Eye.
The things that they do for people, And the way that they make the way Karamo can come in, like it doesn't matter the saddest story you have. You could have the saddest story ever. And the second Karamo walks in your door, immediately you're like, he about to fix you. He about to fix you. He about to make you do all the things you don't want to do. He's about to fix you. How do you not love that show? How do you not love Tan and Anthony and JVN and now Jeremiah, who's wonderful? And I thought I was going to be so mad because I loved Bobby. That show is just a feel-good show. Feeling down in the dumps, turn on Queer Eye. It is a fantastic show. It will lift
I would say
you right up.
It's too historically accurate for me. I
Oh,
don't
whatever.
Like it, no.
It's so, like, I can't get enough.
It's not trash. I'm not going to call it trash TV. I know it's not trash TV and people enjoy it. It's not. It's reality TV.
It is reality TV.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
But Jonathan makes you feel like you could literally climb a mountain and touch the moon.
There's
Like the way that he talks to everybody makes you feel like you can do the absolute impossible.
I agree. I've seen clips and
I've loved it.
There are shows that I missed through the year that I still haven't watched that I'm ready to jump into. Presumed Innocent with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
We said we were going to watch. We haven't watched.
That's right. That's on Apple TV, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Shogun is probably going to win Best Show of the Year. It's that Game of Thrones, but it's the dynasty of the. You've seen it on FX. Those are shows I wanted to check out that I didn't. Shows are hard because you really got to invest in okay, I'm going to watch this.
See, that's opposite for me.
You just let it go.
I just let it go.
Yeah, you multitask when you watch TV. I don't. I like to watch it and focus exactly like I do a movie. So, I prefer movies because it's a short format and I know it's going to have a beginning and an end. Unless it's Dune 2 that has 7 sequels. I didn't know Dune had that many books. It's got 9 books.
Speaking of books, I can tell you the best book I've read all year.
You can go ahead quickly because we're going to wrap up.
The Fourth Wing. Mm-hmm. Fantastic book. Finished it in 2 weeks. So grateful that I got the second book for Christmas because I was so scared I was going to finish it and have to wait. Now I'm scared I'm going to finish the second book and the third one doesn't even release until the 27th of January.
I've already looked for it.
So I've told my friend who made me read this. I blame her because she made me read this. That I have to slow down because I don't want to be left without the book. But OMG, I think that this is truly, truly the first time that I've read a series where the second book is better than the first. Because the first is there's action. Yeah, there's a little bit of romance. But there's so much detail and build up. And you're kind of oh, this is dragging on. Why are you telling me every little detail, blah, 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 blah. Then you get to the second book, and it just bangs. And it's just one thing after another. And then, I'm only in chapter 10, and it now makes sense why it told me as much as it did in book 1, because I need to know it for book 2.
Maybe I'll read it. It's
so good. And then going on Amazon Music, because talking to my friend, we're having a little everyday book club because she's already read it and I'm just reading now, and she promised not to spoil anything, so I have to tell her when all the big things happen. Over the weekend when I finished, she was like, what are you gonna do? And I said, I don't know. I got book 2 for Christmas, but I also got a puzzle for Christmas, which is my second favorite thing ever is a puzzle. And I said, if only there was a way to read my book and do the puzzle.
Audiobook.
Well, she told me there was no audiobook. So I just assumed that there wasn't.
No, there has to be.
And then Amazon Music pulled through and was like, yes, we have it in audio. Yes, you can get it for free with your Audible points or whatever I have that I don't know how I have. And I was like, yes. Me. So now for the past 3 days, I've popped my headphones in, listened to the book, and done a puzzle, and was, starting to get things ready for the floors to come in the house. So I feel like I was super productive and also read a book. And then today, earlier, I went to get Roscoe a bagel. I went to get him a drink.
We're talking about the gear. We're not talking about
I
today.
know, but I'm just saying, you sent me out for a little
what?
lunch.
Where are you going with this?
When I came in, you were like, why were you just sitting in the car? It's because I had my book on, and I was a really big scene was happening, and I couldn't turn the car off because I was listening to the book.
I've noticed that's my problem with books is I'm such a I mean, I went to Barnes and Noble a few weeks ago. We talk about my love to go to the bookstore.
Mm.
I have what I'm getting bad at. I don't like digital books like Kindle. I don't
No.
have that.
No, I need a real
But
book.
I do have the hardcover or paperback of a book, but I also have the audiobook of it too.
Yes.
Because I'll read
Yes.
and then I'll stop and I'll like listen.
Yes.
And I'll read and I'll stop and I'll listen.
Yes.
I didn't read any books this year that are fiction like stories like that. But I reread Harry Potter again. I remember I started that and I finished the.
You can have book 1.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Start it.
I'll try it. I'll try it. Last book I've read that's fictional like that, maybe like I started Hail Mary this year, which is becoming a movie, which is the same guy who wrote The Martian. It's been out for years. Is it called Hail Mary? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I didn't finish it yet.
I will say that if you go on Book Talk, if you get to like that algorithm of Book Talk,
yeah, this is where I found they both die at the end. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
there's a lot of people that will give you good. I mean, last year when
Yeah.
I did, 12 books a year or whatever, where I read one book every month for the whole year,
Mm-hmm.
that was my New Year's resolution. All the books came from Book Talk.
Yeah.
And I didn't find one that I hated. They were all really decent books, but this one, it's just, I guess I'm arguing with myself here.
You are.
It's a
'cause I don't
typical
know.
book that I wouldn't read because I'm not into sci-fi
Oh, because
fantasy.
it's not historical.
Right, it's like dragons, but here I am.
Who knows? I got
Can't
Dune.
get enough.
I got Dune up on the shelf.
I can't
If you'd
get
like
enough.
to read it
Like, I
before you
just-
watch the film.
I can't get enough. I'm hooked.
If The Fourth Wing came out tomorrow on a movie, you'd say, I want to go see it right now.
100%.
Okay, you're making no sense then.
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
But because
you took the time.
I read it and it's so good.
Okay, guess what? Dune got nominated and is about to win Best Picture. It's that good. What do I got to say? We're going to watch it. I'm just going to force you to watch
I'm
it.
falling on the couch and now I'm getting uncomfortable. I
We're
don't know how to
wrapping up
hold
anyway.
this.
This is the end of the year. All right. I read self-help books all year. I didn't read any fictional novels or
That's
anything.
right, you did.
Yeah. And they were all good too.
What do you want 2025 to bring you?
Yeah, that's a good way to start or like end. I wrote, do you have any regrets, first of all, for 2024? That's how I ended it going into 2025. Are there any regrets of the year?
I don't really believe in regrets, so no. I don't.
I believe you.
Then why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing.
I don't believe in regrets because if it's something that I didn't do, I was not meant to do it. That's how I see it.
I agree.
So I don't believe in regrets. What I do want for 2025,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want more adventure.
Go get it.
I just do. I want more spontaneous
Who's stopping you?
thing. Who's stopping me? Ty Loco, who's stopping me?
Maybe we can make a trade. Maybe what you doing?
For every movie I watch that you want me to watch, you give me one adventure.
Depends on the adventure.
Well, you know what I want for my birthday?
I don't.
Sand between my
gosh.
toes.
I tried to take her to Chicago.
No, I don't want to go to
They have
Chicago.
a beach.
No, I don't want to go to Chicago.
Took you to New York. There's water there.
You took me to New York, and it was the trip of a lifetime.
This is my favorite trip I've ever taken.
Same.
Yeah.
Take me to a beach where I can put sand between my toes.
I don't want
Take
to
me
go
to
to
a
the
beach
beach.
with me, you, and the kids, and we're just hanging out all day.
All right, that's not what I'm looking. That's not what I'm foreshadowing in my 2025.
I want adventure for 2025. That's what I want. Spontaneous adventure. We only have 4 years left. We should start being wild.
4 years left of what?
Our children.
Oh, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not true. Scarlett's only 11. 7
She's
years.
going to be 12.
They're not dying.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we're running short on time where we will no longer be the people they want to be with. They're going to want to be out with their friends.
She wants a wild robot.
Oh, stop. So I want more adventure because that's what I want.
Yeah, I have no regrets either, and I want more adventure and more historical movies.
You also want to be down one less finger.
No, I have no regrets either. The only thing, if I could say regret, I regret not speaking up for myself more.
Amen.
And I want 2025 to just be...
It's a big year for us.
What, 15th anniversary?
15th anniversary. 35 years old. 15-year-old daughter.
15. She'll be 16, won't she?
Good Lord.
I,
Good freaking Lord.
I'm halfway to 70. I can't really see.
She's 15. She's the same as the years married.
yeah, that's right.
It's another picture for our wall.
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
I hope your 2024 went well. And if it didn't go well, it's over. So don't worry about it anymore. What does Rafiki always say?
You can either learn from it or run from it.
Put the past behind you.
Or that too.
That's either way. I hope you had a good time watching our... What's going on with this?
I don't know. But
Has
my
it been doing that the
microphone's
whole
also
time?
broken too, so.
Are you unmuted?
No. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
yes, I'm not muted, but it's like, whoop. So I feel like I'm holding it weird. Sorry to those who are watching, but the microphone's broken.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you did watch.
An hour and 11 minutes of absolute gibberish.
I don't think it's gibberish. I got to say what my top 5 favorite films were for the year. That was my whole goal here. It doesn't have to always be sadness. It can be happy stuff.
Always.
Go watch Dune. Go watch The Wild Robot. If you learned anything from this, escape reality, nothing matters, and you can enjoy some film.
And then when you're done, move to New York City.
Sure. That too, if you can afford it. Happy New Year. I love you.
Oh, Happy New Year. I love you.
See you in 2025. We'll be back.